To watch the latest from India Science, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and press on the bell icon to get notifications on all the science-related videos.
Namaskar, I'm Harsha Sharma and you're watching SciTech, a show where we unravel the science behind everything. Stubble burning or crop residue burning is a major source of winter pollution in Delhi, and it gives rise to many problems in northern India. The air pollution breaks all the records and goes high to dangerous levels. But scientists of Indian Agriculture Research Institute have come up with a solution to tackle this problem. Let's have a look at this report.
Every November, northern India experiences some of the most dangerous air pollution levels in the world. Typical pollution sources like car exhaust, construction dust, and industrial emissions are partially responsible. But there is another factor that makes Delhi's air deadly in winters. Scientists estimate that spending a day outside in these conditions is like smoking 50 cigarettes. The air pollution in Delhi spikes up in October-November. It raises the air pollution level to 50 times the safe level. The sudden rise in pollution is due to stubble burning. But now researchers of Indian Agricultural Research Institute IARI have come up with a set of 4 capsules which decompose the stubble in an eco-friendly way. Generally, it takes at least 45 days for paddy straw to decompose, but these capsules will decompose the stubble within 25 to 30 days, which gives enough time to farmers to prepare fields. The capsules are Pusa decomposers, which is a microbial-based technology which degrades the waste and converts it into nutrient-enriched compost. This is an eco-friendly and environmentally useful technology. The capsules have to scale up 25 liters of the formulation. To make 25 liters of formulation out of 4 capsules, it takes around 8 to 10 days. This method will be cheap and also result in better soil quality. The cost of employing this method will come to about Rs 300 per acre, including the cost of labor. That is not the only benefit when the paddy straw decomposes in the sand. It improves the quality of soil better than the fertilizers. Hence, by using this method, farmers can get rid of paddy straw and have better soil. And Delhi's people can say bye to extreme air pollution.
Plants. We humans and animals see them as food providers, but the reverse is true as well. Some insects are actually the food of plants. When insects land on such plants, they unknowingly have come to the end of their life. Well, we know that plants make their food through the process of photosynthesis. Then why is it so that some plants started eating insects for nutrition? And how do these immobile creatures are able to capture their prey? Let's know this in our next video.
Plants and trees, the green hue in our lives that provide us with our 2 utmost necessities: food and oxygen. This is the reason which makes plants sacred in various cultures, and therefore plants are worshipped in various religions. But what if I tell you that there are plants that are carnivorous? Confused? Well, this is true. There are around 600 to 700 species of plants known so far which are known to eat insects for their nutrition. Pitcher plants, Venus flytrap, cobra lily, monkey cup, Australian sundew are all examples of carnivorous plants. Well, this may make one wonder how these stationary plants are able to capture insects. You know it, capturing prey is a very tricky job. These carnivorous plants have evolved various tactics to attract, trap, and then ingest insects. Some have pitchers in which once the insects drop, others have sticky mucilage on their leaves to trap insects. Few use rapid movements to ensnare insects. Plants either have digestive enzymes or harbor bacteria that can break down dead insects into compounds for taking up. But why all this hassle? Well, this is because this insect-eating behavior allowed them to stay and colonize the lands which were deprived of nitrogen. As insects are nitrogen-rich, the plants were able to satisfy their nitrogen requirement by eating insects. But how did this change occur and how the plants got the structures and enzymes required for insect trapping and eating? This question piqued the interest of George Schultz, scientist at the University of Würzburg, Germany, who then looked at the genetic composition and anatomy of 3 modern insect-eating plants to get the answers. Based on his study, they concluded that this whole transformation or adaptation happened in 3 steps. Firstly, around 70 million years ago, an early non-carnivorous ancestor of the 3 modern plant carnivores underwent a whole genome duplication, which means it generated a second copy of its entire DNA. This allowed the second copy of genes to diversify into leaf traps or enzymes for insect absorption. Next, these plants started receiving nutrients from insects. Once they started deriving nutrients, the traditional leaf and root structures were not required, and therefore they started to become rudimentary and were lost in these plants, as per the principle of evolution. Isn't it incredible how evolution derives various wonders of life, each trying to increase their survival attempts to change, and such changes get fixed and later on create new plant and animal species altogether.
Time to wrap up this episode of SciDeck. You can share your feedback and suggestions to us on the email ID flashing on your screens. And for more such videos, download India Science app or visit our website www.indiascience.in. And do not forget to follow us on social media. Before we end, here is a fact of the day for you.
While most of the carnivorous plants are known to feed on insects, pitcher plants also feed on mice, small birds, salamanders and fishes apart from insects and spiders.